Take a look. It's March the 3rd, 2025. I am at Joel Pearl or at thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky. Mouthful, I know, but it's what we do. Welcome to In the Weeds. It's our monthly Monday morning takeover when we show up on youtube.com/Fightful. That is the channel where you subscribe, get all your wrestling news and media. We take over once a month at the first Monday of the month to say hello and welcome you to In the Weeds, which is our Monday. No, we're 5 days a week now. What am I saying? We're a 5-day-a-week morning show where we talk about everything, not just wrestling, but everything else. Sometimes you hear about weird stories of the past and our present and our families and our friends. And that's what we do. You know who I am. You know who that guy is. That's Jeremy Lambert over there. You know the guy underneath us. He's actually our guest this morning. And because of the time that we're starting, sorry for the late start, but that's what it happens. Steve Argintaru is with us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Joel. Good morning, Jeremy. What an honor to be here. Honor spelled with a U. Great to be here from the Great White North, and honored to be here on this once a month takeover show.
So you are what I call a Swiss Army knife of wrestling, in that I have seen you do just about everything. And I don't think some people have seen your face. Maybe not everyone has experienced what you do, but I've seen you ring announce. I've seen you call matches. I've seen you drive people around. I've seen you do just about everything. I've seen you set up media, call media, take photos, amazing photos. By the way, the thumbnail this morning is one of your photos, and thank you for that. But you've been around the game, including this past weekend at Elimination Chamber. I think we should probably dive right into that experience and getting, first of all, that photo of The Rock, John Cena, and Travis Scott in the background. What's been kind of the feeling, the reaction coming out of that show live?
My first takeaway was that I couldn't believe how quiet a building of 38,000 people was in that moment. It was electric the entire evening, from before the start, from an hour before the start, right up until the end of the Elimination Chamber, the men's Elimination Chamber match. And then you had Cody come out to do the confrontation with Cena, the winner. And then The Rock comes out. But as soon as, the throat slash happened, the building went silent, and it remained silent after the attack. And that was my big takeaway. I think we were all in shock because, again, I think if we're all being honest with each other, nobody really saw it coming. There were rumors, obviously, but in my mind, and this is just my personal opinion, I never thought John Cena would turn heel. I from the stories I've heard, whether they're true or not, he always rejected previous attempts at turning him into a bad guy whether it's because of Make-A-Wish or just his character or his part-time schedule, whatever it was. I never actually believed he would turn heel, especially now in the final, 10 months of his career. So whether that was a plan all along, whether he had a change of heart, whether TKO board member Dwayne Johnson twisted his arm, whatever happened, whatever circumstances led up to that, kudos to all, because again, just what an incredibly memorable moment to come out of that PLE.
Steve, were you there for WrestleMania 18?
I was there for WrestleMania 18. I was there for WrestleMania 6. I was there for numerous Monday Night Raws and house shows at Rogers Center. So but I'm guessing you're going to go Rock Hogan.
So what was the feeling? And now that I know WrestleMania 6 as well, like compare and contrast sort of the crowds from those major events, because WrestleMania 6 was obviously Hogan and Warrior, WrestleMania 18, and now the Cena heel turn.
Yeah, I mean, WrestleMania 6 was it was what it was, right? Like, it was hotly anticipated. There weren't really any last minute swerves. It in the moment, it felt like a passing of the torch. I don't remember if everybody thought Warrior would win, but Warrior was certainly on, had the rocket ship strapped to him. There's no question about that. Rock Hogan at 18 was memorable for the reasons we all talk about. It was, Rock and Rock talked about it in the press conference afterwards, and I give him a lot of credit for it. And I love the fact that he put the crowd over for the way the crowd reacted. I mean, he came out as a babyface and Hogan came out as a heel, and literally within 2 minutes of the start of that match, the crowd stated their preference for the opposite. And I love the legacy that match left, where you have, people like Bubba Ray Dudley, like Bully Ray, talking about that being the best match of all time. You have The Rock on Saturday night after the show saying that was the greatest match of his career for all these different reasons. What we know, what we probably don't know happened behind the scenes, but for that reason, it was so memorable. I think if I heard correctly, they were playing, about an hour and a half before Elimination Chamber started. The preview show was playing in the background, and I thought I heard Michael Cole reference Rock Hogan at WrestleMania 18, and he called it the main event. I'm pretty sure I heard him say that, and I thought, no, that wasn't the main. What are you talking? That wasn't the main event. I think because of the legacy of that match, because of what we witnessed, because of how much we still talk about it to this day, in our minds, it was the main event, even if it didn't close the show. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Unless you talk to Triple H or Chris Jericho, which one,
I think even they admit that was the main event, or should have been the main event. At least Chris Jericho does.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I would say when they booked the show, did they really see it coming? No. I mean, it was promoted as Icon versus Icon, and I think everybody knew it would be big. And I think that was definitely back in the day where you closed the show with a championship match, right? Like, now people are thinking a little more out of the box, and the traditional rules don't apply anymore that a lot of us grew up with. But at the time, I could see that being the logic and the reasoning for not closing with Hogan and The Rock. But now, today, and obviously with hindsight, 23 years later, I think we would do things a lot differently.
I had this image in my head because you mentioned that you covered, or you were at WrestleMania 18, then you said WrestleMania 6, and I'm like, little Steve with his point and shoot camera at WrestleMania 6, taking all the photos.
I know. It even worse was probably a Kodak disc camera. Actually, no, the Kodak disc camera was at the big event at Exhibition Stadium in 1986. Hogan Orndorff was the main event. 73,000 plus was the announced attendance. That was crazy. And I literally had a Kodak disc camera, which is like just this shitty little point and shoot that I got from my bar mitzvah. And I had seats beside the third base dugout, which is where the wrestlers were coming out of. So I got a couple of good shots of Orndorff and Hogan coming out. But WrestleMania 6, I had an SLR camera, so it was legit. But I was there as a fan, 15th row ringside seats, and I got some pretty good shots that I posted over the years. And it's great having those memories, and seeing Hogan Warrior and Andre the Giant and the Hart Foundation, and just all those wonderful memories from WrestleMania 6.
Now, you more or less broke the news that Drake was going to be there. So how did this come about? And do you know why Drake was not shown on camera beside when they did the announcer shot?
I do not know why he wasn't shown. I will say that the news or the way I found out was literally dropped into my lap or onto my camera bag. I believe what happened was a production assistant, TV production assistant, was passing around sheets, which is typical. Again, having worked in sports TV, anytime, when we cover a World Junior Hockey Championship and you want to focus on, the families and the parents of the players, there's a list that goes out to the production truck of, okay, John Tavares's parents are sitting here. Sidney Crosby's parents are sitting here, and you have location, you have a little map, so the cameras know where to go. I got a sheet like that, which actually happens to be, I swear this wasn't planned, but happens to be right here.
Oh,
so So I had gone away from the camera platform and came back, and I see these papers, and I'm like, who the hell's dumping their garbage on my camera bag? Like, come on. And I pick it up and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And yeah, Drake's on the sheet. So I tweeted out the news because I figure you can't get more official than an official WWE production document.
I was just floored. I saw you had put it out there, and I was like, no way, come on. But then when I saw WWE didn't show him much, I know Jeremy and I have a lot to say about that, but it was...
Yeah, there were, I'll be honest with you, there was a little bit of nervousness on my part. I didn't think about it too much, but the tweet kind of, it got a lot of traction, in part thanks to Sean. And I thought, I wonder if they're going to show him. And every time, you know, again, I'm shooting from the hard cam section, so there's a platform on the floor, so I can't really see the broadcast, but I'm kind of trying to look up on the big the monitor overhead, and so I'm trying to see when they show celebrities. And I saw a couple of them, and I thought, you know, why aren't they showing Drake? Is he not here? Am I going to like lose all credibility? Like, what's going on? And then after the fact, I found out, oh no, he was there. They just didn't show him on TV.
What do you think the reaction would have been if they showed him?
I think it would have been positive. Canadians, for the most part, not that we're a monolith, but Canadians, for the most part, I think still love Drake. And I think with everything that's happening geopolitically, any chance to get behind a Canadian, I think would be embraced, especially him being in a public feud with a someone who's obviously American. I think it would have gone over fairly well.
I plead the fifth on this one.
Look, I'm not as tied into everything that's going on with the diss tracks and all that stuff. This is just my personal opinion about the general overview of what's happening in the world and what's happening in Canada. I did not like the fact that the anthem, the American anthem, was booed. Honestly, don't play the anthems before sporting events. Problem solved. Don't do that. Yeah, do it at the Olympics or do it at an international tournament, but don't do it just before professional sporting events. It's not necessary. It's outdated. I don't know, like, you guys probably aren't old enough to remember when they used to play national anthems before movies in movie theaters. They stopped that in the early 80s. Don't do it. Awful.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I can't take away from that statement at all. I want to switch gears for a minute. You, like I said, you're a wrestling Swiss Army knife, and you got to work. You were in color at the Smash Wrestling event.
Play by play.
My mistake.
Yes.
You were. Listen, I can't hear you when you're working. Okay.
Fair enough.
Unless you're ring announcing, at which point then I do hear you. But this time you're doing play by play. You're doing that Smash Wrestling, and that was at the Rec Room before the Elimination Chamber. Talk to me about not only just working on the Toronto Indies, the Ontario Indies, but also this particular event, because there were some notable names on it, and it was a really, really fun show for Smash.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, what really stood out was the crowd. The crowd was huge, and I think, you know, from my perspective, and again, having been to some WrestleManias where you've seen, you know, the people come in from out of town and just to be part of the atmosphere, and not everybody necessarily will go to the big show. They just want to be part of that wrestling atmosphere. So I always thought, you know, Toronto should do that when big shows come to town. It was the case in 2019 when SummerSlam was in Toronto. There was a big Ring of Honor show. There were a bunch of indie shows Walter was there, now known as Gunther, obviously. Jordan Grace was on that show, on one of the shows that I was at. So it was pretty cool. So I always thought that's, you take advantage of the people that come in from out of town. And there were quite a few people from out of town. There were quite a few international media that, again, you talk about the Swiss Army knife. One of the things I was doing was, coordinating media access for a lot of the media content creators, people that wanted to come cover the show and do interviews. So that was great. So you mentioned some of the big names, formerly Jinder Mahal, now Raj Deshi, the Maharaja, was there. He was supposed to actually have a Smash Wrestling World title match against Psycho Mike. Psycho Mike, unfortunately, fractured his foot, was unable to appear. So he took on London Lightning, who people watching may remember from a couple of AEW appearances, had a big memorable TV match on Collision a year ago against Roderick Strong. In London, Ontario, he was noted, I think, by Tony Khan as being from London. He's actually from Ottawa, but, never let the facts get in the way of a good story, as we like to say. And Cassie Lee, making her emotional return. She has not wrestled since October of 2023. So 16 and a half months that she has been off. She had her second baby in June of last year, June of 2024. She's been training at flatbacks, but this was her return ahead of the Inspiration, formerly the Iconics, reuniting at on WrestleMania weekend for a prestige show. So that was pretty cool. Again, I'm not a wrestling expert, although I have been around, obviously. But she looked like she hadn't lost a step. She did an emotional promo afterwards, talking about coming back. She fought Alexia Nicole, I should say, one of the local Toronto indie talents. And she will be back challenging Jody Threat for the Smash Wrestling Women's Championship. And she will bring Jessica McKay with her. She will be fighting Jody Threat, and that is April 20th, WrestleMania weekend, back at the Rec Room in downtown Toronto.
It was a really, really fun show. I was lucky enough to be there and cover that. Seeing Cassie back was a joy. And she even said, I think she said she had the flu, or she was battling the flu, like symptoms. So they were both giving it their all. And I thought it was a really, really fun show. I will also point out Kevin Blackwood and Tarek had a fantastic match.
That was great. Like two of the hardest strikers that you'll find in wrestling. That match delivered. And again, we got to put over the main event, which was for the tag team championship of Smash Wrestling, Sinner and Saint from TNA Northern Armory out of Vancouver against TDT, Le Tabernacle team. They've been around for well over 10 years. They've been one of the top teams. I don't know how much traction they have outside of Canada, even outside of Eastern Canada. I would say they're out of Quebec. They wrestle in Ottawa. They've come to Toronto. I don't know how much, like I said, traction they have in Western Canada, but man, they are two of the most entertaining guys, and they can go. So that match was phenomenal and a great main event.
Steve, next time you join us, we're gonna have to talk some more basketball and some hockey, because we didn't get to any of it today. But Joel's not big on the basketball. I am. Hockey, we're both.
I'm the hockey guy. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a Sens fan. And
Colorado Avalanche, right, Jeremy?
Yep. Avs. We'll see in a couple of days if we make some trades or anything. And then I got my Thunder shirt for
nice.
So there we go.
All right. Well, I'm a Montreal Canadiens guy, so we have Patrick Waugh in common.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Patrick Waugh. Arturi Lehkonen, not quite as big a name as Patrick Waugh, but help the Avs win a cup. All good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Steve, before we let you go, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank
you.
Put
over what you're doing, what you got going on, and of course, like I said, Swiss Army Knife has plenty of things happening.
Well, thank you. So I am still in the process of editing all of my 2,000, 3,000 photos from the weekend, SmackDown, and a couple of appearances, and obviously the big show Elimination Chamber. So I got some phenomenal shots that I've been posting on social media. I'm sending a bunch to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, so we'll see how many they take. And shooting also for Slam Wrestling. And also Toronto Sun. So busy churning out all those photos. In the meantime, you can find them on my social media, which you'll see just under my name there at Steve TSN on both Twitter and Instagram. And that's what's basically taking up a lot of my time, but it's a lot of fun and I love doing it. I'll put over Greektown Wrestling, where I ring announce. Big show coming up on March 15th. Ultimo Dragon and Gangrel are the two big names that will be there, along with the usual Greektown talent. And as I mentioned before, Smash Wrestling back on April 20th with the big show. So lots of stuff to keep me busy and always entertaining, and just trying to keep up with all the WWE and AEW and TNA and everything else going on in the wacky world of wrestling.
Steve, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Go check out all of Steve's work, and also Greektown, and also Smash, and also just all of the independents that are happening around Ontario. If you're in that area or wherever you live, check them out, because the talent works hard.
Support indie wrestling. It is the lifeblood of the sport that we all love. And again, I always kind of compare it to to pro sports, where if you have a chance to see Sidney Crosby is a junior, when he's 16 years old. And you can go back and say, yeah, I saw him when he was with Rimouski. Like, that's pretty cool. And to be able to see that, to be able to see guys like Speedball Mike Bailey, who I've known for 10 years, and all the guys, even guys like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who came by Smash Wrestling back in the early days. Like, it's just so amazing to see these guys succeed, and it just gives you something extra to root for. So yeah, support indie wrestling.
100%. Steve, again, thank you so much. Steve Argintaru, go follow him at SteveTSN. Thank you again. We'll see you again soon. I know it.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers. You gonna kick yourself out, or am I gonna kick you out?
Yeah, kick me out.
Yes. I get the power. Thanks again to Steve for joining us this morning. It was wonderful to have a chat. I'm lucky enough to get to see Steve at different wrestling events in Toronto. And then once he dropped that Drake news, Jeremy immediately to the group chat was like, we got to get Steve. And I said, sure, give me 5 minutes. And so here we are, had him on, and again, a great chat. Always fun to have him and to bend his ear a bit. Cause like, I didn't know as much. I mean, I got to know Steve over the years, but like, I didn't know how much he has done in the wrestling world. And to hear it is wild. Again, the WrestleMania 6, the big event, like, didn't know that he was at those events and like, in some cases covering those. It's pretty cool, or at least taking photos at them.
We missed Tenru's super chat who had Steve.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I had it on media assets. I just opened the chat. Steve's still in the chat, so he's gonna see at least saying, Steve, Drake canceling his Australia and New Zealand shows to do the Chamber was wild. I think TK should do a funny thing with Kendrick Lamar showing up at AEW Revolution. A lot of people are calling on AEW to bring in Kendrick, to the point where someone was like, Kendrick doesn't know what AEW is, and Ricochet was like, "Oh, he knows what AEW is." If they do it, good for them. If they do it, good for them.
I don't know if Kendrick does or doesn't know what AEW is. Ricochet can say things, so who knows if he does. I don't know if Drake actually canceled his show to do Elimination Chamber. By the way, I think there were other reasons that those shows got canceled, and then he just happened to be back in Toronto for Elimination Chamber.
Are you trying to tell me that the ticket sales were not good?
No, ticket sales, I don't know what it was. I just don't think he was going to cancel 2 nights of a tour, because he canceled the 28th and he canceled the 1st. I don't think he was going to cancel 2 nights of the tour just be like, oh man, I got to go see this wrestling show. Maybe he really thought this is going to be the biggest thing in the world. He was right, by the way. He went there and he was right, but I don't think that was the reason that he canceled the show.
Honestly, if Kendrick shows up at Revolution, I will not say a negative thing about AEW for at least 12 hours.
By the time our show starts on Monday, you'll be like, all right, anyway, that main event was bad. This match was bad. That match was bad. Why'd they do this? So that would be the end of it.
After the show, Joel went around and personally kicked out all of his American fans. I wasn't actually at the show in the end. Someone saying I don't believe you. First of all, like Jeremy said, 12 hours. It'll be the show.
Yeah, the show will end. I don't know. You might actually. Those shows don't end till midnight, so our show ends at noon. So,
well, I mean, the show's 11:59. So maybe we'll just take Monday off. That's fine. Oh, the show's on a Sunday too, so I can't even get away with it's a Saturday. Oh, damn it. All right, whatever. Balls in your court, TK. If you do it, I will be pleasantly surprised. It'll be great stuff. But it's a very interesting night. No, I did not end up at Elimination Chamber. I did go to Smash Wrestling beforehand. I've said it on the show, and I've said it with multiple people. Like, the WWE they gave Sean media access. They did not give me media access, because it sounds like they're kind of tightening their strings when it comes to how many people from one specific what do you want? I don't want to call them entity, but one specific outlet. Thank you. One specific outlet gets a person or 2. But in our case, Sean was 1, and that was that. So I didn't get in. And also, between you, me, and the lamppost, I wasn't in a position to spend that much money on a seat up in the 500s where the Jays play for $2. So I just I left it be. I came home, I watched it, I enjoyed the show. It was good. Sorry, I'm going to cough now.
Well, I got sick over the weekend. I was very sick I was feeling sick on Friday, And then, had to do stuff Friday. Very sick, not feeling great on Saturday, and ended up working until about 12:30 on Saturday because The Rock and Triple H had to talk for way too long. And then sick yesterday, but here I am today. We don't run from the grind around here, people. We just continue to get sicker because who cares about your health and well-being when wrestling's always on.
And while you're expiring here and your grind is happy, leave a thumbs up. Leave a thumbs up on this video. We've got the pyro going. We've got the thumbs up. The subliminal messaging is there. Get there. It's the mono withdrawal. That's why Jeremy got sick. Finish the bottle on Friday. Now we got to start a fresh one for the WrestleMania build. But leave a thumbs up on the video for us. And of course, run ahead and subscribe to us here on the main channel. It is Monday. It's the first Monday of the month. So we are here. In the Weeds is the morning show. We do 5 days a week. It's myself and Jeremy, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. SP3 joins Jeremy on Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting around 10 a.m. Eastern. Today was a little different because of my own schedule, but normally we're at 10 a.m. start over on here or on Fightful Overbooked. That's our sister channel where the show would normally air. So go check that out. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. You can donate a super chat like our pal 10 Ruza just did. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. And we always allow and appreciate and want you to help us, drive the ship, as it were, and talk about what you want to talk about on this show. So with that in mind, the Costco guys have a match at AEW Revolution.
I'm annoyed this is their match at Revolution.
I am too. I actually would rather have. By the way, we're going to get into Elimination Talk in a second. I just kind of did this as a bit, but also because it does go from our conversation on Friday that we were under the impression that they maybe just weren't going to have a match with him, with Big Boom AJ, because they did a lot of build for the first one and they hadn't mentioned him at all since Christmas. But apparently he showed up on Collision. Big Boom AJ and Big Justice had a little bit of a face-to-face with AEW, and they're gonna have a trios match. They had a tete-a-tete with John Morrison. It's gonna be Jomo and the MXM against what is now going to be Big Boom AJ, and then Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe joining him on his team. A lot of last-minute stuff. So I just wish they kind of just moved it off the card at that point. Maybe moved it to Dynasty. But
nah, I don't wish they moved it off the card. Like I'm fine with it. Do I think they should have started a little bit earlier? Yes. I'm annoyed that they shoot this great angle with Mark Briscoe and Gabe Kidd, and now Mark Briscoe's in this trios match. I was like, I want to see Mark Briscoe and Gabe Kidd at the pay-per-view. I don't want to see this trios match. I love the team of Mark, Orange Cassidy, and Big Boom. I think that's great. They'll have a fun little match with MXM and Johnny TV. But don't shoot that angle with Mark Briscoe and Gabe Kidd and then put Mark in this match. Unless Gabe Kidd's going to come in and start beating the hell out of Big Justice, that would rule.
So it is a 0-hour match, and I get that, but
yeah, it was always going to be a 0-hour
match. There was no surprise there. I think really the crux of the argument here was last time they did it, the Costco guys were everywhere promoting that they were going to do it, and it got a fair amount of eyeballs watching online, and that's great. And I wanted that again. I was hoping that they would do the rounds because, again, I think when Adrian Hernandez was here on Friday, we talked about how they could do the late night shows. They could do more appearances leading up to Revolution, that they were in LA. This would have been a good opportunity that didn't come up. And that's where people who are I hate the fun. It's not, I'm actually thinking about more you could have had more eyeballs on it. And I would have loved to have more eyeballs on this particular match, but this is not how we're playing it. That's AEW's decision.
I just want Mark Briscoe and Gabe Kidd. That should have been on the pay-per-view.
That's fair. Maybe you'll get that at the next one. Maybe they'll do it at Dynasty.
I mean, if they wait that long, that's fine, assuming they have a good, strong build for it. I've said for a long time Mark Briscoe should be utilized better as an up and down the card babyface because he is that good in so many different roles. So, and same with Orange Cassidy. Both these guys feels like they can be utilized better for AEW. It is Orange Cassidy went from one match away from wrestling Kenny Omega to teaming on the pre-show and facing MXM and Johnny TV. Those are the breaks, I guess.
I mean, you get what you get. Someone in the chat is Matthew Hook saying that Gabe Kidd and Mark Briscoe is Wednesday.
Have they announced that? Is that official?
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah, I've not seen that be official anywhere.
It would
So-
it would make sense given Gabe Kidd was still here as of Sunday. But I haven't seen anything announced for Dynamite yet on socials.
Yeah. They're doing a double taping Dynamite and Collision, so it's very possible that it's taped for Collision as well. But yeah, I've not seen it be announced anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, we'll see where that goes. But Tenruza adding in the Gabe Kidd on AEW was gold. Spoke on Kingston. Damn, I haven't seen the whole thing. I did see Gabe Kidd humping the sign, telling a bunch of incels to go get laid, which I appreciate. Makes Gabe Kidd the wrestler of the week or the year in my book. So good for him. It was a good episode of AEW.
Yeah, it was good.
Good. We'll talk more about Collision in a little bit. I just wanted to get that right off the bat because it was a point of conversation, an extended conversation from Friday. And when I saw Big Boom, I was like, okay, it's good that we're still doing this. It's just we had feelings of how it could have gone. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be a fun match on 0 Hour and people will tune in to watch it. I'm sure your 28 kids will start texting their friends and their friends will text their friends and their text their friends and so on and so forth. And everyone will watch.
You know what they were most excited about this weekend?
What's that?
Travis Scott.
Like for real?
Oh yeah. So when people are like, "Oh, why was Travis Scott part of this?" We're gonna get into it now, everybody. When people are like, "Why was Travis Scott part of this? He looked so out of place and everything." Like of all the things to be mad about for this segment, which I don't think there are many. The biggest thing to me is production and commentary. Like, can y'all just shut up? Like, please don't say anything. Let this moment speak for itself and don't say a word.
John, stop it. John, stop it. John.
That was the most annoying part of this whole thing. And then the production with all the cuts and the zooms and all this stuff. I was like, oh, can you just have one shot? It's such a good moment. You don't need a bunch of shots on this stuff. But yeah, they were most excited about Travis Scott. One of the 12 kids is a big Travis Scott fan. And he was like, let me know when Travis Scott's going to show up. I was like, okay, no problem. I let him know, and he watched that segment, and he's like, oh, that was cool. And I told him, like, hey, Travis Scott might wrestle. He's like, oh, that'll be interesting. But that's what they were most excited about. And I'm thinking, if you're The Rock, if you're the final boss, if your pitch to Cody Rhodes is, I can make you a mainstream star, I can help you transcend wrestling, you're not going to come out there with, well, you're not going to come out there with the Usos anyway. But you're not going to come out there with another wrestler. Coming out with Travis Scott makes a whole lot of sense of like, this is the level of people that you can be hanging around if you accept my deal. We can go party it up with Travis Scott after this. Do you know who The Rock knows? Rock's got 500 million Instagram followers. The Rock was just named the highest paid actor of 2024. This is the level of people you'll be rubbing elbows with if you accept my deal. I didn't have any issue with Travis Scott being out there. I didn't think it looked out of place at all because, like, when you talk about that moment, John Cena, The Rock, two guys who have transcended wrestling for years, makes sense that a mainstream star would also be part of that. So I thought the Travis Scott part was no issues for me.
I didn't necessarily think it was out of place. At first I did. I'll put it like this. In other words, during the entrance, when they did the Travis Scott intro, like they did If You Smell, and then Travis Scott comes out, I'm like, okay, I know he was supposed to show up, but like, what's this about? And to a point where I was like, are they just going to have The Rock come out, like dap him up, and then Travis goes to the back? And then he came down to the ring with him. I was like, oh, okay, he's going to be part of something here. And that's when I was like, we're going to change the mindset. Now we know Travis Scott's going to be a part of whatever angle is going to transpire, obviously a huge one. And yeah, listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that I know Travis Scott's catalog or that I listen to his stuff all the time, but I understand his gravitas to wrestling fans and how important he is right now to a lot of fans and to a lot of rap, hip hop and wrestling fans. So like, it wasn't directly to me, but I understood why they would do it. So as they did it, it just made sense. It just felt goofy at first because I was like, is this all he's going to do? And then it was like, oh no, he's doing much more. We can talk now. We're good now. But I was, yeah.
It didn't feel goofy when he slapped Cody and busted his eardrum.
Not at all. And again, it was literally on the stage for 5 feet, and then it changed, and I was like, oh, okay, we're good. Now we know like Travis is doing something. The burning sage in the corner while Cody's telling the Rock to go F himself. Things like that were just, it was a little hokey, but also a really funny callback. It was good. I thought Travis Scott actually did a really good job in his limited role. I did notice at one point, maybe when he was lifting up Cody to do the slap, and John Cena was like, no, put him down. Don't lift him up. But it felt like there was a little bit of a miscommunication there, but otherwise he did his job. He did it well. And someone in the chat saying he's got a receipt coming. Yeah, Cody might, he might get him back. He might potato him if Travis Scott gets into the ring in a professional sense. He's not going to do it like just because. But if they have a match,
they all went backstage and then they had their mana and they were all hugging like, what a great segment. And Cody's just like, all right, hands down. I gotta get this back. And Rock and Cena are like, look, man, you kind of got him on. This is how the business works, kid. You're going to go out there and you're going to slap him like that? Yeah. Oh, well, this one, Travis Scott's like, he's so high. He doesn't know what's going on. He's like, all right, sure. This is what we do around here. Why not? They probably didn't feel a thing if Cody slapped him.
Do that Mr. Burns segment. Give me a slice. Excellent. It's just the 4 of them slapping each other around after the match. Take a shot of mana and just power slap. It was power slap WWE in the back. See who folds first. Oh, hell of a segment though. So this all culminates. So the Elimination Chamber men's match. That's a whole other kettle of fish we're going to talk about. But towards the end of it, yeah, I say kettle of fish. Yeah, some people say kettle. Yeah, kettle. Yeah, it's a kettle of fish.
Okay.
Anyway, look it up. It's a saying. Some people say can of worms. Some people say kettle of fish. It's a morning show. This is what we do. Anyway, the men's match ends with John Cena passing out. CM Punk passes out because of John Cena, but CM Punk may have already been out because Seth Rollins, who had just been eliminated, stomped as they call it, CM Punk, leading to the finish. John Cena's being apologetic, but he's also taking advantage of the situation. So that was one of a few little breadcrumbs that were left that John Cena may have taken the low road to get to this position. And then after the match, cage goes up, Rock comes out, Cena comes out. It's time for the decision. And just like LeBron talking to the people of talking to the people of Cleveland, because I know football, I know basketball. He told Cleveland to go F themselves. But in this case, it was Cody telling The Rock to go F himself. And that's when it all started. John Cena went from super smiley babyface cheer on boy to big hugs and dick kicks as he went. He put on his upset face. He put on his scowl face. It was very, very cartoonish. But John Cena turns heel, and a lot of people had feelings about it. There's a lot of people talking about it throughout the week as a possibility. It is what happened. And now for the foreseeable future, John Cena has taken the low road, and he will be the bad guy against Cody Rhodes going into WrestleMania for the undisputed WWE Championship. Hell of an angle. Hell of a moment. A lot of people mouth agape. The children are crying. R-Truth is beside himself. I feel like the John Cena promo needs to include R-Truth, or at least some sort of backstage interaction where Cena gets more heat by beating up R-Truth at one point. People are calling Rock and Cena the Break-A-Wish Foundation. Fantastic. There are a lot of feelings about this. This transcended wrestling and went into mainstream culture. It was a moment to be remembered. Triple H, Paul Levesque had called it an industry. It was going to turn the industry on its head. Well, they did that. I think they did a good job with it. I'm going to poke one hole in this whole story, though, Jeremy.
Oh, I will paper that hole. Go ahead.
You will paper that hole? Is that what you do? Use paper, not duct tape or plaster or anything like that?
Del, your hole, I don't think your hole is going to be very strong. That's why I'm just going to use paper, Joel.
I'm hoping that they explain what would have happened if John Cena had not won the chamber. I'm hoping that they explain, because at that point, you got to remember. So when the lineup went out, it had read that they were in the middle. Of course, card subject to change, and there was feeling that maybe it was kept there just to kind of throw people off the scent and so on and so forth. But if it was going to be in the middle before the chamber match, or at least before the chamber match would have gone, you could have at least done something, but instead it ended the night. And at that point, Cena won. Cena took the low road out. Cena turning heel felt like, well, what was your plan B? What if Punk had won the chamber instead of John Cena? We basically have to let it go that John Cena won the match and then turned heel. But what if he didn't? You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. In pro wrestling logic, why did John Cena's victory then facilitate him turning heel on top of it when he had already taken the low road to get out of it? So I will let you give your thoughts about that, and we'll expand on it even further as we talk about it.
Because Travis Scott's weed was so good that no matter who was standing there, they were about to line with The Rock and Travis Scott. They got one whiff of that, and they're like, shit, fuck this Cody Rhodes guy. I can hang out with Travis Scott and The Rock all the time. Yeah, I'm for that. That is how. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was Travis. It didn't matter if it was CM Punk. He's straight edge. He still would have taken one hit of that. And he'd be like, this is what I've been missing? Damn. All right. All right. I'm with you, Rock. I'm here. Let's go hang out. Didn't matter who won the chamber. They were taking the deal once they got a whiff of that Travis Scott weed.
Okay, now give the actual response. But also
that is the actual response.
But I'm gonna give it an even further moment. Seth Rollins was the reason that all of this happened. Seth Rollins taking advantage of the moment and taking out Punk and yelling "die, die, die" as John Cena took advantage of that moment. Again, it was kind of like, it's felt like multiple times, and we've discussed the Rock's involvement in anything WrestleMania, or really anything in his story, has felt like, oh, we'll tell it now and we'll clean it up later. And later could be in a documentary that has a release date that turns out to be 4 months after the fact, because we got to clean it up, make me look like less of an asshole. Whatever it is, it just felt to me as I'm watching it like, wait, well, Cena won. Like that's good enough. Why did we do this right away? Why did this have to happen now? And what would have happened if John Cena, again in kayfabe, what would have happened if John Cena didn't win? This is kind of why I was going on the CM Punk should win, and he would say no. If John Cena is going to say yes to this, he would come in and basically make it a triple threat by order of the final boss. And that could have been one way to kind of get around it. It would have been a triple threat main event. I know some people feel a certain way about doing multi-person matches. I understand. But at least it would have made some more sense. But this was kind of one of those moments where I was like, what are we doing here? How do we get to this point? And that's why I'm hoping they explain it, because it certainly in the moment was kind of just there.
I don't think anybody in the moment, I don't think anybody looked at it that deeply, because we were just so enthralled by what actually happened. No, I get your point.
It was a big moment. Absolutely. And now we take the step back. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we can take a step back. We can look at kind of this stuff. They do have to do a little bit explaining with that. For all we know, this could have been the plan dating back to, The Rock said he had a plan with bad blood and all of this stuff. And I don't buy any of that. I think he did it, and they were like, all right, now we can piece it together. Like, all right, sure. That's all it is. And they're going to piece it together with this stuff. I think they'll have some type of explanation. What it'll be, how logical it'll be, we shall see. It could be as simple as after the Royal Rumble, or maybe before the Royal Rumble, The Rock reached out to John Cena and said, hey, if you win the Rumble, what do you think of this? And then Cena didn't win the Rumble. And then Cena was like, I'll put myself in Elimination Chamber. I'll go win that. And then he won Elimination Chamber. What would have been the plan if Cena didn't win Elimination Chamber? Maybe they would have just delayed it, but Cena won Elimination Chamber, so they didn't have to delay anything. It could just be as simple as that. Maybe if Seth Rollins or CM Punk or Drew McIntyre or whatever won the Elimination Chamber, The Rock would have come out. He would have asked Cody for his soul. He would not have sold his soul. And then CM Punk and Cody Rhodes would have done their big hug, and they would have rubbed it in The Rock's face. And The Rock, again, would have done his little gesture. And then 2 weeks when John Cena is actually going to show up on Raw, that's when the turn would have been. Who knows? Who knows if that would have been the plan? We don't know because they didn't win. Those dorks lost. John Cena won.
Bunch of dorks. Couldn't win. Drew McIntyre eliminated first. Prolific failure he was. Good on Drew. 10 Rizza sent a super chat saying Cena moves so awkward and goofy to be a heel. His face. I keep going back to it. He looked like a cartoon monkey. It just like taught him how to act.
John Cena's gonna do so many chin locks and shit. It's gonna rule.
That first STF that he cinched, oh, that was awful. The one where Punk just kind of like put his arm around it to get out of it. That shit sucked. And then the last one when he had Punk out and he's selling, I'm sorry. Punk is just like, get it in more. He's like reaching his neck into his arm to make
always does such a bad STF. It's hilarious. I hope he still excuse me. I hope he calls the spots just as loud as ever now that he's a heel.
Well, now that he's aligned with The Rock, he could get on the microphone and call the spots and pretend that it's part of the act, right? I love playing John Cena, but I love being John Cena, the bad guy. Chin lock, body slam, 5 moves of doom, thunder punch. He could just do that with a microphone in his hand. Honestly, he's skilled work if he did it. Tenru's adding in the Christian Cage is the one true go F yourself king. A lot of people mention that. And listen, it was very good when Christian Cage did it to Adam Copeland. I loved that. This was different. This was different because you don't get it from WWE you don't get it from WWE period. Because they're also such a polished, family-friendly type of show that to hear that was almost a shock to the system. Hearing it from Cody Rhodes was almost a shock to the system given his character. This isn't to take away from the moment between Christian and Adam Copeland. I thought that was also a lot of fun, and that was really good. AEW is just an edgier product, so for them to do it, it was like, oh yeah, you went there because you're adult. This one was like vociferous. It was just like, it was something else. I like them both for different reasons. It was unexpected.
Yeah, I didn't think Cody was going to sell his soul. I definitely didn't expect him to drop an F-bomb, but all for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Did it.
Yeah, definitely got the point across too. It was emphatic, and especially after Friday night when they had shout out to all the Ontario wrestlers who got to shadow Cody on camera. Johnny DeLuca was one of them from Hamilton, great dude. They had him do the decals on the Ford truck, and it was a red truck just like The Rock's big black truck. This was Cody's way of just being like, no, I will not eat green eggs and ham. I will not like you, Rock. Thank you, ma'am. Whatever. I couldn't make a rhyme out of it. Damn it. Cyclops better than Wolverine, saying not one person helped Cody. They all watched. Bunch of cowards.
Cody is an asshole. Look at his last year. Everybody turned on Cody this past year. AJ Styles did a fake retirement just so he could get his title match. Cody's helping Roman Reigns, so Kevin Owens went after him. And then here's John Cena going after him as well. I feel like there's something up with Cody that we got to acknowledge, that he's not this good person. Again, using that kind of language on this television show like that. I think Cody is the real bad person here.
That's why him and Roman Reigns are going to be best friends soon. Roman Reigns was like, I'm not a good guy. I'm just the guy who's coming to take your spot back. That's what Roman Reigns. I don't know why he sounds like Keanu Reeves when they talk like him. I'm not a good guy. I'm a bad guy. The Monoman himself, Micah Wallace Seals, saying, I usually listen to you guys in the evening, but had to come and say that I took a shot at Terramana after that segment. Hell yeah. Also, Travis Scott is way more mainstream than Dennis Rodman was when he was in the NWO. It was well played. Hashtag go Avs.
Go Avs.
The NWO stuff, the comparisons there have been they've been there. They've been made. A lot of people mentioning Hogan Bash at the Beach in '96, and a lot of people saying, I wasn't alive when this happened, and I felt very old when that happened, but it did. That being said, there's a point to it. I mean, Hogan was this perennial babyface coming from different companies, and people were getting bored of him presentationally. I don't know if they were there yet with John Cena, which means, was this maybe the better time for them to strike with this John Cena heel turn? There were a lot of people saying it should happen, but like, it was still a bit shocking to a lot of people.
We talked about the possibility on this show, and SP3, who's been in the chat, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of braggadocious things to say tomorrow.
Who?
He thought it was going to happen. I thought there was a chance it could happen. I didn't think it was going to happen because I always set my bar very low. That's why my bar was Drew McIntyre. Like, yeah, Drew McIntyre is probably the easiest thing they can do. Go in with no expectations, and that way, if it over delivers, you feel excited about things, and if it under delivers, well, didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. That's always my theory and motto. But yeah, SP3 thought it was going to happen, and it happened. So I think it's a good time for it. Obviously, it's a John Cena call, a little bit of the Rock call. But if John Cena didn't want to do this, he didn't have to do it. He could have gone on his farewell tour and gotten his flowers and everyone say hello and everyone praise me and everything. But he decided, no, let's do something different. Let's shake things up a little bit. I think the one thing that kind of hurts this is the fact that Rock ain't going to be around that much. And Cena's already off for a couple of weeks. So you can't even do like an immediate follow-up on it. There's going to be no explanation tonight. There's going to be no explanation on SmackDown. I don't think Cena's scheduled to appear for like 2 weeks. So that's the earliest you can possibly do an explanation. Is it good that this thing is allowed to breathe for 2 weeks, or does it hurt that there's going to be no follow-up for 2 weeks?
My feeling is you'll see one of them, either John Cena or The Rock or both, at Madison Square Garden for that episode of Raw, because it's Madison Square Garden and it's the show before they go off to Europe and do those run of shows. That's a big, it's a big venue. It feels like, yeah, a special surprise at Madison Square Garden, an announced surprise, because WWE's kind of gotten away from doing surprise returns for big stars, big talent. Again, there was no Roman Reigns and there was no talk of Roman Reigns. The only big surprise was Randy Orton and of course Jade Cargill. Those were, but they're not The Rock, they're not John Cena, they're not, they're big, but they're not those guys. So they're going to promote the return of their A-level storyline going into WrestleMania. They're going to promote the hell out of those returns. Feels like they'll do that at Madison Square Garden. That's my feeling.
Which is possible. And if that's the case, then all right. More power to him. That's at least only a week to let things breathe. But I don't know. Cena's filming some movie. He didn't do the press conference. Babyface move, just dropping the mic and leaving. And was off to film a movie. The Rock's off filming something. Like, if they're going to appear, it's got to be a live thing. You can't have the first promo be some taped nonsense. It's got to be from the crowd. So Madison Square Garden makes sense if they're there for that, but right now they're not. I imagine if they do have them for one of them, they'll announce that tonight. You want to have a whole week to let people know they're showing up at Madison Square Garden.
They should host a Rock and John Cena greet the WWE shareholders event at Madison Square Garden, just like they did. Remember when they showed the 9/11 tribute movie that they did, the documentary, and it was like, it wasn't in front of the crowd. It was like in MSG and like its own little room contained and all that. They should do something like that, where it's just The Rock and John Cena hobnobbing with the shareholders, with the members of the board of directors at TKO. And then we just get to watch via not even a professional camera setup. It's like someone has a Ring camera in the corner of the room and you can barely make out what they're saying. It's like this top secret event. And then Cody Rhodes comes in and clears house and says, "This is my TKO." And I don't know what they're going to do, but I would put one or both of those guys in front of that New York crowd and just see what they do. However, one thing that you said that kind of perked my ears up was you saying they can't do something not on the show. Meanwhile, those Instagram promos with those two, those could go off. Get 20 minutes, Rock and Cena just swearing up a storm. Let's go. Just getting their jollies off while they don't actually appear on the television. I know that the TV will never cover it, but man, it'd be entertaining for you.
You can't do that as their first big promo. Like, there's a reason why John Cena didn't speak at that press conference. Part of it was, I'm sure he did have to go take a plane, but they didn't want his first big promo to be at this press conference type of thing. So that's why he just did what he did. The Rock, meanwhile, was like, I'm just playing a character. We talked about all this. This is how it all came together. Let me peel back the curtain, long game, and all that fun stuff. The Rock just broke it all down. Plus, but John Cena, he's going to stay. I mean, he's doing his memes and he's still doing his inspirational quotes and everything. But Cena's at least going to, until he shows up on Raw or SmackDown, he's going to continue to heal things. But his first promo is going to be in front of a live crowd. I don't think he's going to do it Instagram nonsense.
No, I agree with you. What do you think of the fact that Cody Rhodes has now been the factor of two major stars turning heel in like a calendar year?
Yeah, he sucks.
But he's causing these people to go bad.
Yeah, because they don't like him.
Can't blame them.
They're like, this dude just kind of a dork, you know, just talks about himself too much. I don't want to talk to this guy. I want to hang out with this guy. Keeps forcing this Wheatley vodka on me. That sucks. The Terramon is so much better than the Wheatley vodka. So I don't blame him for he doesn't make good decisions. Cody Rhodes. You know, a friend to all is a friend to none. It's the saying. Cody tries to be everybody's friend, and he doesn't have any friends.
So I mentioned this on Blue Sky. You could tell that the John Cena heel turn was on its way because Kmart, they closed their last USA store in 2024. So it was inevitable that John Cena could finally do it. For those who know the story, they get it. The real ones understand. Jeremy, you know the story. Allegedly. The story came out, it was like 2017. I think Kevin Eck had talked about it, that John Cena could not turn heel because there was a deal in place with Kmart. And both Kmart and Vince McMahon were saying, no, you can't do it. We're not going to sell nearly as much merchandise if you're a bad guy. Well, doesn't have to worry about Kmart now. They're gone in the States. They exist in Australia, but that doesn't matter. Very different. So now John Cena can be the biggest heel in the business. Cody Rhodes can sell all the merchandise, buy a truck that's much bigger than the one The Rock wanted to give him, and put on some proper decals. It'll be all good.
That gift sucked.
It really did. Was it a hybrid? I don't know what we're doing if it's not.
Cody's got a giant bus. What's he need this dumb truck for?
Well, because you got to do something when you're at home. You don't drive the bus around to go to McDonald's, do you?
But like a truck, he's got it like a kid and everything. He needs to get him a minivan or something. Like this truck, just you can't drive this truck.
You drive it around Atlanta. Everyone's going to be like, oh, it's the American Roads Ford.
That was a terrible gift by The Rock.
He was just trying to show The Rock. The Rock was like, I have one. You can have the same things I have. And this is one of those things. Although The Rock's black truck isn't, decaled out with his logos and shit. So what are we doing?
Yeah, well, Cody loves his logo so much. The Rock covered up his logo, Used to be on his arm, but then he covered it up. That's how Cody's neck is going to look in a few years. The logo used to be there, but now he's going to go like full neck tattoo to cover that thing up. Audio
listeners can't see it, but I'm making so many awkward faces about that idea. It feels so gross. We got a super chat from Bushin Ryu Cat saying, I want to share two ideas with you. One, my own booking. Rock isn't done taking souls. Next, I'd like him to get Trish Stratus. Promise her Tiffany if she betrays her at WrestleMania. Two, Wyatt Six get involved with John Cena. So to number one, I don't think that's going to be a thing that happens. Mainly because I think Trish was happy to be a part of this build, and she doesn't need to do much moving forward unless WWE comes back to Canada, specifically Toronto. Tiffany solidified her babyface status at Elimination Chamber. She pinned Nia Jax. I'm sure they'll do one more match between those two that just completely ends that feud, puts it to bed. God, I hope if it wasn't already on Saturday, they do it in the next couple of weeks. It's almost inevitable, let's face it. Meanwhile, the Wyatt Six. I don't hate the idea. I don't think it will happen either. I see you shaking your head. But I will say that I give this a little more credence only because of the history. You could have the interaction being You did it. Good for you. And then John Cena just beats on the Wyatt Six, and that's it. Like, that's the extent of the exchange.
If you're a fan of the Wyatt Six, you don't want them near John Cena because he ain't doing much for the Wyatt Six. Let me tell you, Cena with Nexus, the Wyatt Six. Heel John Cena when he can really be like, hold on. Like, he can do this shit just out in the open now. He's gonna roll. He's gonna admit to burying all these people over the years. Yeah, if you're a fan of the Wyatt Six, you don't want them near John Cena because John Cena, he played nice with Bray. It was during the pandemic and everything. I think Cena and Bray got along. He saw big things in Bray. He'd worked with Bray in the past, so he was comfortable and familiar with Bray. Also, remember what happened the first time Cena worked with Bray, WrestleMania 30, when we all thought this would be best if Bray goes over and wins this match. And what happened at WrestleMania 30? I don't think he's looking at Bo and everybody else. He's like, that don't work for me, brother.
I like Alexa. The rest of you, who are you? Joe Gacy, I'd never heard of you in my life. I have a doppelganger who does a show. Never mind. Anyway, I don't expect much of an interaction between those two. But again, that's the only one I give credence to, only because there's at least a little history there that you can draw on, but I just don't. I don't expect anything. So Cena, Cody, night 2, main event. Night 1 now, in some ways, it's wide open. We have, again, you almost know Rollins and Punk, they're going to have to start something. And we know that Roman Reigns is going to come back and go after Rollins. It's going to be the everyone hates Rollins match if they do this triple threat, which was reported originally by PW Insider. Is this a night 1 main event? Is the World Championship, the World Heavyweight title match between Jey Uso and Gunther, if they keep heating that up, is that the main event for night 1? Or the women's chamber match? You have Bianca Belair winning that. We'll talk about the match itself, but now Bianca Belair has a world title match against either Rhea Ripley or Io Sky coming out of Monday night. We'll know. That could be a main event again if you heat it up. You can do Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte as a main event. I think what I'm trying to say is you have 4 or 5 matches that have been made that have the potential to be the night 1 main event if they go the distance. And I'm saying if the wrestlers who are telling the stories make it undeniable that they should be at the top of the card, they have the most investment. Like, this is the time for some of these people to really shine and prove that they need to be the top of this night 1 show. Your thoughts, given the breadth of opportunities here?
Rhea and Bianca would make the most sense because that's a big match that's been building for years, if we're being honest. And Rhea has been a big star for the past couple of years and probably should have been the main event one of the last 2 years. Understandably why she wasn't. But there was an opportunity with the Becky match. There was an opportunity with the Charlotte match where she just didn't get the main event, where there was an argument to be made that she could have had it either of those years. So that's the match I'm looking at to be the potential night 1 main event. But Roman, Punk, and Rollins feels like it's going to take that spot because it feels like that's going to be the match that has the most going for it by the time we roll into WrestleMania. And they're going to take that and they're going to take the main event.
A lot being made of the CM Punk favor. Is that something that plays out for Mania and he gets it to use it as the main event of night 1 and they pull the string? Or does Roman Reigns just say, no, it's me. I'm the main event. We're going to do this. And then they do a Keanu Reeves movie because that's all I get.
What is your up with your Roman Reigns?
He's supposed to be cool. And I try to make my voice deep and like, I don't care. But for some reason, it just sounds like I'm doing Keanu Reeves while he's high.
You got to work on your Roman Reigns impression.
It's fine.
It's unsettling and upsetting.
The big dog is dead. Long live the tribal chief.
I don't like it at all.
I could be more unsettling later if it's fine with you. So this is it. If Roman, my big concern when I talk about the CM Punk favor is that if it's to be the main event, that might have a negative effect on CM Punk as a babyface. Because right now, still a babyface, still a good guy. If you decide to then take this favor and all these matches that we talked about, if they're doing really, really well, they're the main event because CM Punk said so in his favor to Paul Heyman, and Roman Reigns and CM Punk is and Seth Rollins is there too. It kind of takes away from everybody. So do we let the favor kind of stick around for later, leave it alone, knowing that maybe if Roman's involved and it's a triple threat, that's good enough? Or is this something that does involve, quote unquote, the favor?
I don't think you need to make any type of favor here because the only favor is the Mania main event at this point. Because Roman's probably just going to get into the match because of his hatred of Seth. Punk's going to be part of the match because like Seth is the person they're going after more than anything else. So I don't think the favor needs to be capitalized on into WrestleMania. I think it could still be a thing, but I don't think it needs to be capitalized on right now.
That's fair. Again, I could see this is the everybody hates Seth, but Seth is a nice guy. What are we doing?
Seth wanted that man to die.
I know, he was intense. You ever yell "die" at somebody while your friend's choking him out? I've never done that before. Never done that.
No,
Bianca Belair is going after the world title, but her friend Naomi got stretchered out of the show. Jade Cargill comes back at the top of the show. Jade comes back, makes a beeline for the ring, and you've got Liv Morgan doing the acting job of the century. Oh no, she's gonna beat me up. Oh god. And then Jade turns and beats up Naomi, beats the shit out of her in front of everybody, including Bianca Belair, who was apoplectic, just losing her shit in her pod. I thought the layout of this was really good. I really do. Once Naomi came out last and Liv was there, and I was like, is this Jade coming back like now? And she's just gonna storm into the pod or storm into the ring. And that's what they did. And I thought that was really neat. That being said, we talked on Friday about how much I don't really want someone to just walk into the chamber or sneak in and beat somebody up and get them out of the show. But I got to give them credit. They made it work. It didn't completely suck. Bianca being beside herself leaves the door open that maybe she doesn't know, or maybe she is in on it. And Jade hasn't made that known yet. But Naomi's out. She is one of the potential assailants. Your thoughts seeing Jade Cargill make her return on Saturday night? It was a big moment.
That was a really good angle. Like the way they did it. Yeah, I know what you meant of not doing the chamber thing. I said that if it's going to happen, you should do it for the women because the women haven't really done anything like that. And that's when they did. They did it for the women. That was a good angle. Went after Naomi. Still a lot of questions. Is Bianca involved? I think a heel Bianca and Rhea, I think that really levels up that feud. And like that will probably make it a more WrestleMania worthy main event. And we'll see if that's what happens. But yeah, that was a good angle with Jade. And then where Jade is going to go from here, you're going to do Jade and Naomi. Like, is that a singles match at WrestleMania with nothing on the line? Would be different,
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Bianca. I feel like you got to release the damn footage. Release the dock footage. It's time. Jade Cargill needs to come out tonight or on Friday and say, I have the footage from the dock, from the loading dock where I was beat up. And then we find out who did it. But I'm curious as to how this plays out. Obviously, it starts with Naomi and Jade. Does Bianca get involved with it? Does Bianca become a heel based on this? Did she do it and then Rhea is absolutely the babyface for their match? Or do we remain as Bianca and Rhea is a choose your own adventure type of match?
Say that again.
Do you have Bianca Belair 100% turn heel? She did it. Her and Naomi took out Jade and they're going to figure that out. Or do you remain, or does it turn out it was just Naomi? Bianca had nothing to do with it. And she's still a good guy going into WrestleMania. And it's her and Rhea. And it's just choose your own adventure. Choose who you're going to cheer for. No bad guys, no good guys, just a match.
I'd have Bianca be part of the turn. Honestly, I'd have her be part of the turn. Because a heel Bianca it's something different for her because we haven't seen that on main roster. We saw it in NXT, but that was 5 years ago at this point. So we haven't seen it on main roster.
Okay. Well, I'm curious because those are two women that have a lot of fans from a lot of different places. So I just let them fight. Just let them fight out who's the better woman in this case. It'd be fun. But meanwhile, in the women's chamber, they did exactly what you and I talked about with Adrian Hernandez on Friday, that they had something for everyone coming out of that match. You've got Jade Naomi, you've got Bianca winning the chamber, you have Alexa and Liv kind of having a little something starting. That could be for the women's tag titles, or it could be people were talking about doing the Wide Six versus Judgment Day in a big multi-person match at WrestleMania if everyone's healthy in Wide Six. And then who am I missing from the match? Bayley and Roxanne. You've got a little something there. So every person who was in that chamber match, something came out of it. And I do appreciate that they're using the chamber to start getting WrestleMania matches kind of thought about, put together. This was something that I was kind of talking about for weeks after the Rumble. Like, it doesn't feel like the Rumble's giving you the WrestleMania card because you had to get through Elimination Chamber and set up the title matches. But we definitely are moving forward now.
Yeah. I still think we're going to see a lot of multi-women matches going into WrestleMania. I don't think we're going to get too many of the... I hope we do get like a one-on-one singles match between the women, and it doesn't have to be for a title. Like, there's some stories there that they could certainly tell, especially if Becky's getting back in the mix. Like, there's some stories they can tell with that. I just don't know if they're going to go that way.
Yeah, it's curious, but they at least gave you enough meat on every bone to work with, which I did appreciate that. Ten Rizza sent a super chat saying the true heel of the night and every night, Pat McAfee. When we had Steve Argintaru on just at the top of the show, if you missed it, great guest, go check it out. He was talking about booing national anthems and whether or not they should be played. I agree with Steve that just stop playing it. But regardless, they play the national anthem, they sing the national anthems. The U.S. national anthem gets booed in Canada. Big shock, let me tell you. And Pat McAfee goes off and just berates Canada, thinks he's doing heel shtick. And then later on in the night, Logan Paul comes out and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, let me go get a big American flag and get some heat." And he does that. Stop. All of this to make Sami Zayn look bad is really what I'm getting at. Because Sami Zayn comes out and basically says, we're not doing it. He says, quote, "As a company, nothing about the political climate is reflected in the product anymore." And I didn't like that. I didn't like that they had to go back and do all that shit. It just should have been let go. Should have been Pat McAfee should have just shut the fuck up. That's all he needed to do, was just let it go, let it breathe, and move on. It was stupid.
The anthem sucks and it shouldn't be played before sporting events. Just get to the game. I don't care about this anthem. I don't want to listen to "Oh Canada." I don't want to listen to "Star Spangled Banner." I don't want to listen to any of these anthems. It
used to be at WrestleMania, it would just be "America the Beautiful" because they didn't want to do the national anthem. They just wanted to do "America the Beautiful."
I don't care about that either.
But my point is, like, they weren't doing the official national anthem. They were just doing one of the songs about America. That, like, people, whatever. It was a presentation. It was a moment. I don't know why they had to do that. I don't know. Maybe they're saying they knew it was going to happen. Fine. If you knew it was going to happen, it was stupid and he should have just not done it. But it happened. They did it. It was not what I would have done, but here we are. But yeah, what was I going?
I'd be happier if the anthem was just cooler. It's
anthems are made to be cool.
200-year-old song, probably more than that. My math is not good. But like, I think I told this story before. I'll tell it again because maybe we have new listeners.
We are on main channel today.
I went to a basketball game last year, and they were like, "Now please stand for the national anthem." And then somebody hit the wrong button, but a Lil Jon song starts playing. Lil Jon and Ludacris, like, "To the window." I know that's not a Ludacris song, but like, that's what started playing. I was like, hell yeah, if this was the anthem, I'd stand up all the time, support the hell out of this song. Play "Move, Bitch." That's a good anthem. right there. And all this other anthem stuff. Just give it a good anthem that like people can actually get into. You know, Saturday, ooh, got a big weed stash, pocket full of cash. Just seen a big old ass. That's a good song.
Should be Shake Your Ass by Mystical.
It's a good song too.
Every theme should just be Mystical Shake Your Ass.
Play a good song for the anthem. This old ass song, you know. I care about these 100-year-old songs, century-year-old songs. Dude was writing it in his little hut. Care about that? Play a good song.
There are no good songs coming out of America. I'm sorry.
You can't say that. Come on now.
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to heal. I just wanted to heal. That's true. That's fair. I don't know how proud he is about that. But anyway, point is, he's at least he's from the right state for it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. All this to get to KO. Also, by the way, I think this is Squabble should be the American national anthem. Yeah, KO and Sammy. Let's just jump into that because that was fantastic. Had a lot of fun watching that match. I think that the aesthetic of turning off the lights and not having any advertising on the boards was really good. This was just a solid, proper presentation. And then, of course, it all culminates with Randy Orton making his return. Big pop. Big return moment that then gets overshadowed by John Cena turning heel, which is pretty much par for the course. When Randy comes back, some shit's about to go down. This is the second time he's done this. So now Randy Orton, next time he's written off, get really excited because when he comes back, something big is going to happen. But KO Sammy was phenomenal. Looks like we're going to do KO and Randy Orton, possibly WrestleMania. Where does Sami Zayn go from here?
Karrion Kross.
Do you like the idea, seriously, about doing Karrion Kross and Sammy?
I don't hate it. I think Kross has been doing good work in all of these vignettes, and Sami Zayn, one of the best performers they have. I think Sammy can carry a lot of stuff and make you believe a lot of stuff. And Kross has been doing some pretty good work with all of this. I'm sure the match will be fine. I don't think it's going to be too long or anything. Do I think there are better uses of Sami Zayn? Maybe, but it's a good singles match for the card. And I'm all for guys getting good matches on the card that isn't just, hey, let's throw a title at it and pretend that it means more just because this title's on the line, even though we haven't really built up any type of title. So Kross and Sammy has a pretty decent story behind it right now. And I think that story will continue to get elevated as they really start to interact in the coming weeks.
I am looking forward to the punt coming back at WrestleMania. It feels like Orton's going to tease the hell out of that. They're going to keep stopping.
Why did they let him punt him on Saturday?
Well, it's like you said. Once the bell rang, it was a sanctioned wrestling show again. The bell was the reason for the unsanctioned. Once the bells rang, did you not see? Intuit suddenly showed up back on the ring post after Randy Orton came back. I don't know that for sure, but
I like those officials. Then I guess you can just explain this of, well, The Rock told the officials to stay the way. Randy Orton tries to punt Kevin Owens, and the officials are like, can't let this happen. Meanwhile, dudes are just beating the shit out of the world champion. Like, yeah, it's fine, it's okay. Let him beat it. Yeah, I guess you can explain. Well, The Rock said he'd fire everybody.
So all the referees go out and all the agents and everyone, they go stop the punt. But I like that they're going to turn this into potentially the angle that like KO is going to end up getting his block knocked off by Randy Orton, or the other way around. Maybe it's Kevin Owens gets the one up on Randy Orton and he does the punt. There's at least some storytelling around a move is something that I always enjoy in wrestling. If you're trying to tease again, was it? Oh my God, it was Kenny with the one-winged angel going into the match against Gabe Kidd, right? At Wrestle Kingdom, there was a lot of that storytelling. I like when a move becomes part of a match story. That's cool, and in this case, that's what it looks like we're getting to with Randy and KO. I am absolutely able to speak, I promise. With Sammy and Kross, On its head, I like the idea. I need to see something play out on TV more, because every other story that we've been talking about has a little bit more to it in terms of it's out there and it's like it's thought about on weekly TV. This one isn't yet. So for Sammy and KO, or Sammy and Karrion Kross, they're going to have to start doing the heavy lifting on that story if they're going to bring it to WrestleMania. That could be very easily the spotlight story while they're in Europe, for all I know. But we'll see where it goes. I just hope that Sammy gets that standout opportunity, because again, every year he shows you why he is one of the backbone players in that company and can easily pull up when he needs to. And Kross deserves it too. Kross is a guy who continues to work hard and do good work and work extensively outside the bubble as well. So maybe it's time to reward him for that.
Yeah, it's a fine feud going into WrestleMania, and I think they'll have a good match because Sami Zayn rarely misses.
Yeah, exactly. Super chat from Cyclops, better than Wolverine. Play Dipset Anthem instead. It's more American anyway.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. See, we're gonna assign a new American anthem. So by the end of today, you can go to WrestleMania knowing full well that Shake Your Ass is going to be the WrestleMania theme and anthem for the opening nights. Vegas is going to love it. Keep having to remind myself where WrestleMania is this year. Couldn't tell you it's in Vegas because they don't tell you enough times during the shows, Jeremy. They need to really hammer it over your head. Anything else from last night's or from Saturday night's show that we need to cover, really discuss, really deep dive into?
I just can't believe they did it, Joel. Can't believe they turned John Cena heel after all these years. Good on him. Good on him.
CM Punk just sitting there. It could have been me. It should have been me.
That's why I'm so sick, everybody. You know, I spent all weekend throwing up and crying, and I just over the shock and the horror that John Cena is now a heel.
I heard you were in the hallway of your hotel room screaming and crying on the floor.
I legit threw up at the end of the night.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, pal. That sucks.
I was so sick on Saturday night. It was not good. But
now I extra appreciate you checking in on me because I was having a rough weekend at the time.
Yeah, I was so sick, but I'm here. You know, don't ain't running from the grind, everybody. Not running from the grind.
Fair, that's true. We appreciate you for that. Yeah. So. Alexa Bliss Gamer mentioning The Rock talked about his Waffle House order.
Bless Malcolm.
Malcolm went to Smash and did that exact same thing. That's his new gimmick. He's just asking people.
He's been doing it. This isn't new.
I know, but now he's really gaining traction with it. So now he's just pointing the camera and shooting anyone he can get. He's doing it. He grabbed Jason Hotch from TNA and did it. Grabbed other wrestlers from Smash and just like, what's like, God bless content creators, man. Some of y'all just go right for it. I love it.
Malcolm has been doing this question for, I feel like, a year or so now, at the very least. But he does it in all of his interviews. It's how he ends all of his interviews. And look, it's a fun question. You know, we do Partner Promo Punch to end all of our interviews. A lot of people have different stuff. Denise or Lisa does the, never have I ever gimmick to end a lot of her interviews. So it's a fun little thing to end your interviews. And yeah, what's your Waffle House order is a fun question in interviews. When they called on Malcolm for The Rock, I was like, he's going to do it. This is how many times are you going to get a chance to talk to The Rock? Like you're not going to get a ton of chances to do this. He's going to do it. He's going to ask. And sure enough, he did. Like I nothing but respect for Malcolm. He rules.
Do you think they knew when they gave him that microphone what he was going to ask? Because I guess, again, Malcolm's been doing this for a while. He's been in the rooms for a little bit. Shout out, by the way, Muscleman Malcolms, who we're talking about. If you haven't checked out his interviews and his content, he's great. Got to hang out with him a bit this weekend. Really, really nice dude. But he does this question all the time, and he got to ask it to The Rock. Do you think they knew when they handed him that microphone that that's what he was going to ask?
I think someone knew. Yeah, I think someone knew he was going to ask that. It
was very funny. It was very good stuff. Hey, man, if you're going to be on brand, I'm glad you did it. Tenry's saying, true babyface was Conan O'Brien. The Oscars wasn't nice. I didn't watch all the Oscars. I saw the opening monologue. Conan's fantastic. I like Conan O'Brien.
I didn't get to watch the end because the Hulu feed just cut it off.
got to go back to that original cable.
It was, we were watching it and it's like, oh, coming up next, best actress and something else. I don't know, but I think they already did movie. Maybe it was movie, but like best actress and best movie. And then it went to commercial and then Hulu cut off. It's like, thanks for watching. Your event has ended. And we were like, did we only get like a free preview of it? What is happening? Because we started late. We didn't watch like the whole thing. So.
Conan said in his opening monologue he was going to run a tight ship. He's gonna get everything in and out on time. Clearly didn't get that to the Hulu people.
I like to think that Adrian, whoever, it wasn't Adrian Grenier, but Adrian, whoever, who won Best Actor. I don't know what he won it for. Halle Berry kissed him in the on the red carpet. Brody? What? Adrian Brody? Is it Adrian Brody?
People say in the chat it was Adrian Brody.
Is that his name? Adrian Brody?
That is a guy. That is a person who exists in the world. Yeah.
I thought it was more like, I thought it was like fancier than Adrian Brody.
Are you thinking of Timothy Chalamet?
No. I
or
knew
as Adam Sandler likes to call him,
No, I knew it was Adrian something. I just thought it was like fancier than Brody. Brody seems like, I think of the one of the Jenners, Brody Jenner. Brody just seems like a very basic ass name. I thought he had like a fancy last name.
Maybe you're just mispronouncing it. It's
my bad.
Adrian Brody. Would that help?
Maybe, but yeah, I just thought he had a fancier last name. I didn't think it was so generic. Generic ass white dude.
God damn. Jeremy Lambert shoots on actors in the Oscars sphere.
I didn't see his movie. He apparently he's like 2 for 2 on. Yeah, he won for The Pianist.
That's where the man sits down at the bar and he pulls out a 10-inch pianist.
Yeah, he won for his Pianist, and many years ago. I can't tell you what like Adrian Brody movie I've seen. I never saw the Pianist. I'm not gonna watch The Brutalist. Let's see. I almost typed in Adrian Brody cage match because I'm so used to cage match. He got wild.
I think they call it IMDb for the actor.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, Grand Budapest Hotel. I've seen that. I saw it when it first came out, so I couldn't tell you a thing about it. I watched that movie like once, and yeah, I couldn't tell you anything else. Oh, he played Pat Riley in Winning Time. Oh, SB3 probably loves him. Never saw that. I'm the reason it got canceled, according to SB3. So it's
okay. You know what? Adrian Brody he didn't turn heel, so SB3 is not going to want to talk about tomorrow.
I haven't seen like any of these movies. He seems too high class for me. You know what I mean?
Believe me, I understand that sentiment.
Maybe that's why I thought his name was more high class. Oh, he was in The Undertaker's Wedding. Oh, like to Sarah?
To Michelle McCool?
No, this came out in 97, so it had to be to Sarah.
Yeah. Wow. Good for him.
Okay.
We love a best man.
You know what's hilarious about this is like we're doing a bit that it's The Undertaker's Wedding. Like, haha, wrestling Undertaker. Do you know who the director and the writer of this film is?
No.
John Bradshaw.
I quit. Why is everything wrestling? This sucks.
Oh, he was in Angels in the Outfield. That was young Adrian Brody, so I wouldn't have recognized him. He was in a movie called The Boy Who Cried Bitch. Starring Kazuchika Okada.
I love that we both went there. I almost did Natalia, but I know we're going to talk about Collision in a minute.
I can't tell you I've seen like a ton of things with Adrian Brody. So apologies. But his speech ruled because like they played the music to like get him off the stage. And he's like, nah, cut that shit off. Like, cut my music, he's like MJF out there. You know, he's like, cut that music. I still got things to say. And so they stopped playing the music. But then that's why the show ended early as well, because Adrian Brody took too long for his speech.
You should just post his speech on social media. More people would see. It's just the way you should do it. I was gonna say something about the Oscars and everything, but it's fine. You know what? Missed opportunity not having The Rock show up at the Oscars and be like, you know what I did last night? I made John Cena an asshole. And then that's it. If Batista could show up at the show, why can't The Rock?
Yeah, Batista was there.
Yeah, looking great, that Dave Batista.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's never going to turn heel. As long as he's saving puppies, no problems in my books.
Batista is a heel ruled.
That's fair. Listen, I when he did the whole I quit and he's in the wheelchair stuff, that stuff was great. But like that was Batista being Hollywood actor Batista before like any of those other guys were really doing it. The Rock did it, I guess. But like John Cena has now got the chance to do it, and he gets to draw upon all of that experience as long as he doesn't do monkey face. By the way, Jules Max saying the Brutalist felt like every second of its 3-hour, 20-minute runtime. Well, that's what watching a Brutalist construction looks like. Enter into a Brutalist building, and you feel every inch of that place. So the movie had to do the same.
Is that like I don't know what it's about. I know Akira was on talking to us about it.
Yes,
and I don't know, something that's not up my alley. Definitely not up my alley.
Conan was up my alley, and I thought he was entertaining. So
Conan rules. Shout
out to Conan O'Brien. Gonna watch no more of the Oscars. I saw the opening, saw the moments I needed to. Adam Sandler was a gem. It's all that mattered. And John Lithgow doing the whole like we're not gonna play the music. It's gonna be John Lithgow looking really upset with you, looking really unimpressed by your life choices, and it's just him going.
John Lithgow didn't want to be there. Bless him.
I can understand that. It's 4:00 on a Sunday. I'd rather be doing literally anything in LA at that point. Anyway, at least the roads were empty. Let's talk about Collision. Speaking of empty, I'm not there yet. I thought Collision was actually pretty good. Clark Connors having a match against Swerve, looking good. Big fan of that Clark Connors. Good dude. Except those pants. Jeremy, why is Clark Connors wearing those camo pants?
I need to call my mother.
Are you going to ask her about Clark Connors?
I'll ask her what she thinks of John Cena turning heel.
That's fair. That's a good idea. A lot of people were asking.
I'm going to mute myself for a second.
Oh, okay. You got to do those. Okay, we could check that out. But yeah, I did enjoy that. I like that Nana still coming out with Swerve and trying to move Swerve into a position of being more aggressive in the ring was really good. You can tell he doesn't want to have to leave Swerve, but he's going to. That's my feeling for next week at Revolution. And we'll talk about that next week on the show as we start to preview Revolution and after Dynamite and all that stuff. So I do look forward to what comes from that. But I thought Collision was a strong show. I thought that the Tony Storm promo was fantastic. I know Jeremy's going to give his thoughts on that in just a few minutes once he's off the phone. But Tony Storm lying in bed with a neck brace and just eviscerating her opponent and saying that she is going to Mariah May is going to meet God as she rips off the neck brace was very, very fun. Very, very fun stuff. Chat's saying that we just lip read Jeremy's social security number. Good for us. I'm glad that you guys have it instead of the other guy who potentially has it. I am of the belief, as I was before, Powerhouse Hobbs is going to win that Ring of Honor World Championship. I think he is going to beat Chris Jericho. The match might happen as early as Revolution, or at least the week after. Do it in California. Hobbs is home. I would like that. Powerhouse Hobbs having a good showing, getting the pin, winning his match, his tag team match in the main event, teaming with Bandito to beat the Learning Tree guys, Brian Keith and Big Motherfucking Bill, as his tights will say. That was a good match. It was an interesting way to end the show because it's a tag match. B, you had a title match on your show. While it did end with a schmaz finish for Cole and Garcia, I almost expected Cole and Garcia to be the main event, but instead we ended up doing the tag match with Hobbs. And I do think, like I said, Hobbs versus Jericho for a Ring of Honor title, I would put that on the cards. Okay. I would have Hobbs win.
All right, Joel, shut up.
All right, well, I had to do that thing.
All right, we're going to get my mom's thoughts on John Cena's heel turn. Did you see John Cena turned heel, Mom?
Did he really?
Yeah, he's a jerk now.
I thought you liked him.
Well, I mean, I do like John Cena, but he turned. So now he turned against Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is a giant dork.
I like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Cody Rhodes.
How about the guy at the store? Did he watch this? Does he know about wrestling?
I don't know. He walked away.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Let me see.
Yeah, let
me ask him.
On the street reporting.
Oh, one of the guys does here.
Oh, yeah. Ask him about Cody Rhodes' heel turn.
Yeah. Can you hear him? Can you hear him?
Yeah, we can hear him.
All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, what'd you think of Cody Rhodes or John Cena turning heel?
Oh, yeah. See, that's
that's not his level.
Oh,
that's another level. Yeah. So are you actually with WWE?
No. I write about wrestling, sadly, for a living.
Oh, you write about
it. Yeah.
I got you. So I follow my kids watch it more than me.
Okay.
Like, it's just on every day. I got a
yes, it is.
My daughter's like, she's deaf, so she likes everything, physical. She likes to watch the fighting stuff. She plays the fighting game. If I was to get her on, she would probably go crazy.
Who does she like?
Everything. So I get to watch it, but I don't get to watch it.
Okay.
That makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. He definitely knows. There you go.
We got another one, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
I got one for you right here for sure. Yeah. No, you need to talk. Hey, TJ.
Yeah, we good.
What you think about the John Cena? I think Cena needs to hang it up. I'm tired of seeing him.
We're not gonna disrespect the GOAT John Cena like that.
I mean, he had his nice run and attitude there. It was cool. Right. So but now it's just kind of playing out after he went on Good Morning America Cry. Yeah, that part too. I forgot all about that. Yeah, that was definitely. You know what I mean?
You good?
Yes. Tell them thank you.
Yeah.
And now I'm back to being Tenruz is saying, this mom call reminds me of a Letterman segment. It's true. We can all call our moms and put them on the air. That's what we should be doing from now on.
I'm getting a new iPhone, so there's breaking news for everybody. I got like a 10, and my mom
I'm pretty sure you have an SE right now.
What's that?
I'm pretty sure you have the SE.
Is that what I have?
I think so.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it's I mean, I can like check it.
Yeah, you just gotta go into general and then model number.
Let's see what I have here. Where do I go? General and
let's go to settings,
right?
Yeah, settings, general, about. It'll say model name.
I disagree. Oh, 11. I have an 11.
You have the 11. Okay.
Yeah.
I have the 13 mini. I got to get a new one soon.
I'm getting a 16. So,
okay. That's the latest one. So good for you. Are you getting the 16 or the 16E? There is a difference.
Yeah, my mom is upgrading my phone for me. So she's at the Verizon store. And I just decided to see if anybody watches wrestling there at the Verizon store. So shout out to those guys for talking about wrestling. I got beef with the one guy who doesn't like John Cena, though.
Oh, at least he doesn't think that you work for WWE anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't want to be accused of working for WWE. Everybody thinks we're already on the take, so we don't need that anymore.
You got Sean out here being like, hey, I'm going to do a Q&A at 12:30, and then it was 12, and now it's 1:30 because he got an interview on the docket. What are we doing? By the way, Fightful Select, best $6 in the business. Go get in on that. We had some free posts going into the show. Some news, some AEW news, some WWE news, some Indies news. You want European wrestling news? Corey Brennan and the team's got you covered there. There's some free stuff on Fightful Select, and then there's the paid stuff. Get it right. Get it the way you should, the original way. FightfulSelect.com. That's my plug because we're on main channel today. By the way, thanks to everyone who's been super chatting so far. This has been a really fun show to do. We should talk about Collision. I kind of gave a bit of a rundown while you were on the phone, but where would you like to start? We had started with Clark Connors. Let's get you start there because Clark has been a guest on the show before.
Yeah, it was cool to see Clark Connors and him against Swerve. And I don't know how much Clark Connors is going to be on the show moving forward. I imagine he'll have some type of role. Him and Gabe Kidd would probably do some good work as a tag team, but Swerve won as Swerve should do. We'll see where Clark fits in. If he's not, they bring in these New Japan guys like Ishii and then they just lose every match. So at least Gabe Kidd won the other week. I think they know they got something there with Gabe Kidd. Clark's probably a guy that's going to have good matches and not beat too many top people.
Yeah, but it was a solid match. I was saying that I like that you've got Nana still wanting Swerve to be more aggressive and cheering him on to be aggressive and show what he is supposed to be as he goes up against Ricochet at Revolution. I'm still of the belief that he's going to go as hard as he can to push Swerve as hard as he can to do the things he needs to do. I think that's going to be his downfall. And that's going to lead to Ricochet just doing that one little thing that wins the match, and that's going to end up with Nana joining Ricochet. That's where my brain's at.
It could happen. I mean, I know you've been steadfast in the belief that Nana was going to turn.
Yeah, so that was good stuff. The Toni Storm promo, I thought that was really good stuff. I think the way that she was, so they had her in all white, the entire decor. I'm talking the bed, the side tables, the neck brace, the sheets, everything was white. The only thing that was of any different color was the timeless on her robe. Her hair was disheveled. Her hair was closer to white than blonde. I thought this was really, really solid stuff. She ends up with taking the neck brace on and says that Mariah May is going to face God at Revolution, and the Hollywood ending is on. So again, solid stuff from Toni, to the point where now people are thinking that this should be the main event of Revolution. Although I'm personally still of the belief that you're going to get Cope and Mox as the main event. And I personally think that is the right play for this particular show. What were your thoughts with Toni and this promo in bed?
That was a good promo. I do think this should be the main event. I assume it'll be Moxley and Cope, but I think it should be Mariah and Toni.
It's been a strong story. I will not take that away from anyone. I'm also just someone who really believes that when your world championship is on the line, it should be the last match on the card. That's a very New Japan Pro Wrestling type of style of viewpoint, but when your world championship is there, it should be number one. Not that we've seen it in several months. It currently resides in the stomach of Jon Moxley, inside of you, inside of me, inside of everything I want to be. Moxley making Yuta beat the shit out of Willie Mack after that match, though. Good to see Willie Mack back. Local, so it was good to see him, take an L to Wheeler Yuta, but at least he got a little bit of character development out of Wheeler Yuta and out of Moxley. Moxley shook. So there's, again, the way that they've reassigned this particular main event story between Moxley and Cope, it works. It's simple. It's effective. Cope is taking out all members of the Death Rider one by one. He's got Wheeler Yuta on Wednesday, which I assume will end with Wheeler Yuta being taken out, escorted out, whatever. He'll be out of the match. This is, again, good, solid storytelling. Big fan of that. And Yuta looked good, and so did Willie Mack. Good match.
Okay.
You disagree?
That was a good match. It was fine. It set up the Cope stuff on Wednesday, and I assume Yuta's going to die on Wednesday because that's been what they're telling. So, Willie Mack was in there to take a beating, and he did that very well. And now watch him on ROH every now and again.
I don't think you'll be seeing him anywhere for the next little while because they don't even know where they're putting their talent these days. There, I finally said something negative about AEW. You can all jump on that. Tenruz is saying Revolution felt like the start to the road to All In, which feels like the start to the road to All In. Well, it'll be good. I hope that it is. You've got Revolution, then Dynasty, Double or Nothing. It's a pretty long laneway. I'm hoping that they start setting up some stuff. They've got Okada and Brody King kind of starting to bubble. They started the tensions this week. I'm hoping that they start building Kazuchika Okada as, well, more than just the guy who says bitch. And then they also, I need Brody King not to be like, I want to face the guy who the G1 Superman. It's time to start moving Okada back into Okada mode. Have him beat Brody King.
I think he is going to beat Brody King. And then he'll get serious when he has to face Omega later on this year. Until then, you're just going to get Okada title defenses where everyone says, I want the G1 Okada, and they don't get the G1 Okada. They get this version of Okada, who is still very good. And until we get to Kenny Omega, that's it.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it. I'm hoping for more when it comes to him. FTR is a big old loser. Big old losers.
They won, and then they lost. It was fine.
They're all big losers. Never going to see them in the tag titles again. Time to split up the FTR. Big old losers.
Why did it take everybody so long when Infantry and Shane Taylor Promotions, which I guess it's one and the same now, when Shane Taylor Promotions was beating up Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia? Where were FTR and Undisputed Kingdom? And I'm asking that as a little facetious, but I didn't have commentary fully on because I was watching Elimination Chamber. So, like, did commentary actually explain that? Like, was that explained? Because they finally did come out, but it took them way too long. I felt like that beatdown segment was like 10 minutes, and then they finally came out. Like, we know you're there. You just wrestled in the opening match. What's going on here?
So I'll let Chad fill that in because I don't remember seeing that or hearing that. I also was wondering why this wasn't the main event until I saw the beatdown, and I said, okay, because of that, it's not your main event, because this was the only title match on the show. And again, typically, if you got a title match, that ends up being your main event. And Cole and Garcia has been built through a few episodes of Collision, so it was to me it should have been the main event, but instead they went with the Big Bill and Brian Keith versus Hobbs and Bandito match, which I guess has also been built, but it's fine. So I don't know if commentary said anything about the beatdown segment. I'm looking through my notes and I don't see anything.
It doesn't look like the commentary did. So why is it taking you guys so long? But whatever. Maybe they'll do a rematch at Revolution and we can get a winner. I still think Adam Cole's winning this title if they do a rematch. I
mean, he should have just won this past Saturday. If that's the
case. Had to delay it. Had to delay it so you could do it on a pay-per-view.
That's fair. And I'm back on the Hobbs wins the ROH World Championship train after this. Again, sure is right, because it's not like ROH is going anywhere. Hell, we canceled our post shows for the foreseeable future because of it. So Ring of Honor is a show that exists somewhere, but it doesn't exist many places. I just feel like Hobbs will beat Jericho and he'll be carrying around a belt. That'll be that. It's not like Commander carried out the TV title the other week when he came to Hologram's aid. So sign of things to come. Time to combine some titles, right? Right?
They might with the International and the Continental, assuming Kenny wins this weekend.
That's true. We'll see. I got to pull up tonight's Raw. There's only 2 matches announced for tonight's Raw, but Will Chisholm said
that's not true at all.
Did they add more finally?
Yeah.
Oh, is it just segments or matches?
Segments and matches.
That doesn't count. I want both together at the same time.
I mean, you might do that.
Wilson's into super chat saying, if Rhea Ripley wins tonight, does Bianca turn heel in the main match versus Rhea, and do Rhea versus Bianca 2 at night 1 of WrestleMania? Or sorry, night 1 SummerSlam. Will Chisholm, where are you going? Are you going to SummerSlam or WrestleMania in this super?
I think he's saying WrestleMania is the first match, and then you do the rematch at night 1 at SummerSlam.
Okay, so Rhea wins tonight. Do Bianca?
You got to understand how to read Will Chisholm.
I usually I do, but I guess this is supposed to be the turn heel in the Mania match versus Rhea, and then we do Rhea versus Bianca 2 night 1 of SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
Did I get that? Think I got it? Okay. I'm of the belief that, as we talked about earlier, you will either have Bianca be a part of the Jade storyline and she did it and she is an accomplice, and then Rhea's the babyface, Bianca's the heel, that's it. Or they're just going to be like, well, you two have very strong fan bases, so tell the story and you will pick your favorite based on that decision. And that's it.
I think Bianca's turning heel.
Fair. We're going to find out. By the way, you know how we're saying the TNA post show outlasted the ROH post show. We had already outlasted them. We had a good year on top of the ROH post show. We were already ahead. We were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we had started shortly after Slammiversary or before Slammiversary 2023. Yeah. So we've been going for a while, Cresta and I. Shout out to Cresta Star. Wonderful human being, wonderful show. Showrunner, person I do a show with, co-host. She's great. Go check her out. Raw tonight. Sorry, typing too fast. That's your excuse for everything. If it's not typing too fast, Will, then it's like text or it's something else. It's always something with you, but I appreciate you. We appreciate you. We always love when you pop up. Shall we get into Raw for tonight?
Yeah.
Or is there anything else from Collision that you wanted to make reference to?
Collision was fine. Yeah, I watched it while I was watching Elimination Chamber, so it didn't get my full attention. Apologies for those people who really love Collision and wanted more nuanced takes on this show.
Well, I am a professional and I watched it last night.
Okay.
For those who missed it, we did talk about Big Boom AJ and the Costco guy match at the top of the show. Kind of
That was
joking.
the lead story.
It was one of the lead stories after our interview with Steve Argintaru. Go check that out and leave a thumbs up on the video. Let's talk about Raw for tonight. We have Bianca Belair, CM Punk, Gunther, and Seth Rollins all set to appear. They're all one by one. They're going to parade out and they're going to talk. And maybe they're all going to talk over each other. But those four are going to be on the show. Jey Uso going to show up? Maybe, best Gunther? What's happening?
I assume Jey Uso interrupts Gunther. I assume that's a thing. So.
Punk and Rollins have a thing. Bianca Belair is probably going to talk about the Jade and Naomi thing because Rhea Ripley has the match later on in the night. This should be the start of the Bianca Do You Know Anything story.
Yeah, you got to reference it in some way. And maybe it gets a blow off of just like, I'll learn more on Friday, but you've got to at least like bring it up in some segment with Bianca.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Harley Cameron segment was very funny on Collision. Sitting at the announce desk.
Yeah, her finishing move. She has a finishing move.
Yeah. What's it called?
Her finishing move.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. What's it called?
Her finishing move?
Gotcha. Okay. So her finishing move, who's on first?
I think her finishing move is on first.
Gotcha. Okay. Feel the wrath.
No, Harley Cameron rules.
It's a very stupid bit, and I was very entertained by it. Oh, good for her. As long as they keep making her a point of the show and it's entertaining, I'm not going to take away from that. World Tag Team titles are on the line on Raw. The War Raiders are going to defend against American Made. Is this the chance for American Made to win the tag titles and bring it all home to Chad Gable? Or are the War Raiders going to be the tag champions of a useless division?
I think that American Made should win, and I think that Ivy Niles should win, and you should actually go somewhere with this stuff because ain't like they've done anything with Lyra outside of losing. Ain't like they've done anything with the War Raiders. At least there's a story with American Made having the gold and Chad Gable gets back and he can be proud of his team because them failing and him just being like, you guys are losers, like you failed me. We just did that with Alpha Academy. I don't need to see that rehashed. Actually have them win.
Yeah, I'm of the belief that you could tell a lot more of the story with the Alpha Academy, or I'm sorry, American Made having like a solid I'm trying to formulate my words. I'm of the belief that if you put the titles on American Made, all three members, you could tell a really good story with Chad Gable. But I also don't know what Chad Gable is going to bring back with him from his excursion, so to speak. So it's either
mystical powers.
But I mean, do you do a story where they all win, Chad comes back and he loses again, and then they kick out Chad Gable and they're just on their own, the three of them? Or do you have Chad come back, Chad's a winner, and they all dominate until somebody has to come back and beat them all? Or do they all lose and they're all just lovable losers who aren't very lovable because they're actually real assholes?
They're already been losing. Like, we know they're losers. That's what they've been doing for most of their careers. Like, have them win. I think there's a story to be told with them actually winning matches. Gable doesn't have to get a title immediately. Him just coming back and being the first man to defeat Penta is a big story unto itself. And that could be the victory for Gable. I would just like to see this group get some victories because they're a strong group if they're pushed as such. But if they're just going to keep losing, I don't have a whole lot of interest in them.
Love the idea. Chad Gable comes back in a luchador mask, but not just that, he brings masks for the rest of American Made. It's one for Ivy, and two for the Creed brothers, and then they have to wrestle in these masks. And like, God, it's very uncomfortable. And Chad's like, "This is the way we do things now." And then they become big losers again because that's what you do. Just make them all big losers. We mentioned the Intercontinental Championship. The Women's Intercontinental Championship is on the line. Lyra is going to defend against Ivy Nile. That's a match that's happening. If you do the American-made sweep, I think there's a story in there for tonight. It'll be entertaining. Anything you want to add to that Women's Intercontinental Championship match?
I think Ivy Niles should win.
Wonderful. And the Women's World Championship on the line, presumably in the main event. If it's not, it should be. Rhea Ripley defends against Io Sky. This has WrestleMania implications on it because Rhea Ripley's the champion, Io Sky's challenger. Winner's going to face Bianca Belair, presumably at WrestleMania. This will be a fun match. Looking forward to Ripley and Io. And this is hopefully last time for a little while between those two.
Yeah, it should be a good match. I've seen a lot of people say that Io should somehow get added into the Bianca Rhea match at Mania. I'm not like really opposed to that, honestly. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Bianca and Rhea is gonna main event WrestleMania. And there could be a third, but it won't be Io Sky.
Do you think it's gonna be Nikki?
Charlotte Flair.
We need Charlotte Flair. Favorite stupid video of all time. As long as the cops try to arrest them and they beat up a bunch of cop cars and that's great. That's all I need. Thea Hale should be in the main event of WrestleMania.
You know I'm all for that. I think Becky could jump in there. I don't know what the story is with Becky as far as like how you get her there outside of she's Becky Lynch. But I think like if you really want to, I think Bianca and Rhea on its own is strong enough to main event. I don't think it needs Becky, mind you. But I wouldn't rule it out.
Oh, there it is. Breaking news. Mustafa Ali versus Santana at Sacrifice on Friday, March 14th.
Is that when that show is? Next Friday?
Yeah, it's next Friday.
All right.
Starts at 8 o'clock, so we're doing that again, are we? Thanks, TNA. Really doesn't make me want to. Well, anyway, doesn't matter. But that's gonna be. Listen, this is of all the feuds that they have going on. This is it. This is the feud. I think Ali. We'll talk about it as we get closer to the show, but there are a lot of interesting threads. Yeah, there's some interesting threads between Ali and Santana, and Santana's undefeated in TNA since he started. Ali is Ali. He's being a piece of shit and he's doing it really well. Like and he's back and so there's some interesting kind of little underground stuff going on there if you pay attention to TNA like I do. So that's what I'm here for. But I mean, on its head, Ali and Santana is going to be a fantastic match. I think that's going to be the standout from that Sacrifice show. Can't think of anything else that's going to be better than that.
Hell yeah, that match seen a rule.
Although Masha is really great, so I'm looking forward to. Maybe they should go hardcore with that match. Masha and Cora Jade. Just let it be a hardcore match. Another Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. But anyway, Raw's on tonight, so go watch that. Or don't. I don't care what you do. Just go enjoy your time. Put a smile on your face, however you can do it. Jeremy, is there anything to plug?
Oh, I feel terrible. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us today, especially on main channel. If it wasn't on main channel and John Cena didn't turn heel, I may have actually taken a show off, but I'm here for the people. So thank you.
This is typically how things go. Every time we're like, "Whoa, let's just not do a show," something happens, and then we got to come to work.
Well, I knew it was going to be a big weekend anyway with Elimination Chamber. But like, if it was a straightforward show, I probably still would have shown up because it was a big weekend. Like, if this was the last Monday where there were no major shows, we were on just the regular show, regular channel, and like I wasn't feeling this well, probably been like, yeah, might actually take a show off, but I do not run from the grind.
Well, tomorrow they're back at the grind again over on Fightful Overbooked. That's our sister channel. Jeremy and SB3 will hold it down, talk about Raw, talk about Elimination Chamber and SB3's thoughts. Go subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. This is the main Fightful channel. We're here at the top of every month on the first Monday of the month. We do In the Weeds on this channel, and then we go back to our 5-day-a-week schedule over on Overbooked. That's our sister channel, youtube.com/FightfulOverbooked, or go to FightfulOverbooked.com. That's a mouthful. For Jeremy Lambert, I am at Joel Pearl, or thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.